WCNC Charlotte, this is Flashpoint.
Thanks for joining us here on Flashpoint. I'm Ben Thompson. On Monday, most students across North Carolina will be back in the classroom. Charlotte-Mecklenburg and Union County schools, among two of the largest districts in our area, headed back to school this week. But public schools continue to face ongoing challenges, including teacher shortages and more money going towards private schools. In a moment, the head of North Carolina's largest education advocacy organization. But first, joining us now is North Carolina's Superintendent of Public Instruction, Katherine Truitt. Superintendent, welcome back to Flashpoint.
Thank you, Ben. Great to be here.
And also happy back to school, I should say.
Yes, absolutely.
A lot
from
of
parents everywhere.
Right, I know, especially for the parents. A lot of students headed back to the classroom this Monday, but a bunch of students have already returned. Certain districts defying state school calendar law so they can have finals before the Christmas break. Makes some sort of sense there. Fully realizing that state lawmakers created this law and not you, do you feel like this law makes sense?
So I have always said that the calendar law is not really what's best for students. However, the State Board of Education and the Department of Public Instruction are completely limited in their enforcement authority and ability to address this issue. So while I believe that in local control when it comes to setting the school calendar, I always advise districts not to break the law. I think that when local boards vote to be in violation of this law, even when it's in the best interest of students, that they are putting local superintendents in a very difficult position. But this is, at the end of the day, truly an issue that the legislature would need to address.
Have you chatted with them about it? Have you gotten anywhere?
No, I mean, multiple of my predecessors have been trying to convince the legislature to change this. This goes back decades. So even before the current Republican-controlled General Assembly. So for whatever reason, the General Assembly has not really shown a willingness to step in and provide local control to districts. And you know, I'm not sure why, outside of the often cited tourism industry, weighing in on this, but I'm not sure why they won't change it.
During your time, you've been through a lot with pandemic learning loss, teacher retention issues. As we start this school year, 2024, what do you think is the biggest issue facing schools as they head back?
Well, I think for me, the biggest issue when I look at our test scores, statewide, I'm seeing a need to tackle math the same way that we tackled literacy back in 2021. We have a statewide literacy policy framework that is well-funded, prioritizes students, and gives teachers the professional development they need at the expense of the state. It also contemplates that legislation contemplates how our schools of education can do a better job in making sure that our teachers are prepared to teach kids to read. We need to do the exact same thing with math. And we actually presented to the State Board of Education, my team and I, a plan to do that. Unfortunately, I won't be returning to office for the long session, so that is all on hold right now.
Gotcha. Why do you think the number of students enrolling in private, home, and charter schools, why do you think that's going up?
I think that we live in a time in our lives when choice is the order of the day. We can choose how to customize pretty much everything in our lives, from our medical care to our salads. And now school doesn't match that level of choice. We live in, by and large, in the United States, the government tells parents where their child must go to school by virtue of their zip code. And while some of our larger districts like Charlotte, Wake County, where my children go to school, and Guilford County, for example, have great in-district school choice, not all districts provide choice.
As the state lawmakers continue to fund some of these private school voucher programs, You don't necessarily see that as undermining public schools, that a lot of people say is the result. If I understand you correctly, you think you can have both.
I think you can have both. I want to be very clear. I believe that the parent is the best person to make the choice for what their children should do in terms of their education. And while people of means have the ability to pay for private school, a lot of working class families do not have the ability to pay for private school. And I think that's where opportunity scholarships come in. But I want to be very clear also that school choice and specifically opportunity scholarships are not a panacea to, improving our public schools. At the same time, I do think that with the exception of teacher pay, I like the way we fund public schools. The bottom quartile of public schools in terms of poverty get 33% more in funding than our wealthier public schools. I think we fund our public schools very equitably. Are there things that I think we should be spending more money on, like teacher pay? Yes, but I don't believe that it's a case of we're shortchanging public schools because of opportunity scholarships.
We have a more in-depth report coming up later in the show about teacher retention. But specifically, what do you think should be done? And you mentioned teacher pay just now.
Yeah. So I think that, and I've been, very outspoken about this for the last almost 4 years. Teachers do not get paid enough in salary. But I think that's just one piece of the puzzle when we talk about teacher retention. First of all, 90% of teachers on the teacher working conditions survey across the state report they are very happy in their schools. They're very happy doing their work as teachers. But because of the rising cost of the pension plan, mainly because of the rising cost of healthcare, it costs $60 million now to raise teacher pay 1%. It's an incredibly expensive proposition. And I'll remind viewers that, last year teachers saw a 3% pay raise, this year a 4% pay raise. Teachers aren't really seeing that because so much of those increases go first to fund their pension. And we have a lot of teachers who will, retire and collect that pension for longer than they actually taught. If you retire at 52, which you can, and you collect that pension until you're 82, that's a long time to be collecting that pension. But I think the bigger problem here, Ben, is that we need to re-envision what the teaching profession looks like. And it's not something that's attractive to this generation of young people. We see that in our College of Education enrollment numbers, and I think that's really what issue needs solving.
I do mean this with due respect, but a state superintendent race usually does not make national news. However, yours did. I think to the surprise of a lot of people, you lost in the primary. Do you plan to endorse anybody in the upcoming general election?
Yeah, so neither candidate has asked me for their endorsement. I can tell you wholeheartedly that there's one particular candidate that if she were to ask me to endorse her, the answer would be no.
Well, there's only one female candidate, so I think we understand who that is, and that is a fellow Republican. Many would say a different kind of Republican. Do you worry that she does not have the chops, not having public school students, not having any experience in public schools? Do you feel like she does not have the chops to do this job?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think that's a fair assessment. It's always been a mystery to me why someone who has never trusted her own children with the public school systems and someone who's never worked in public schools in any capacity at all would want to be the state's leader of our public schools.
And your thoughts on Mo Green, the Democrat?
Yeah, I think Mo is very well intentioned. He does have a public school background. He's never been a teacher. But at the same time, I think that I would love to see some kind of platform from Mo. I haven't heard any specifics about what he wants to do. And in my mind, it's very clear where we need to make improvements, how we can serve students better. I've laid some of them out for you in this interview, and I wish that Mo would be a little bit more aggressive with his policy positions and how he wants to innovate and improve outcomes for all students. But I haven't heard that yet.
Do you think that this position that you currently hold, do you think it should be an elected position?
That's a question that I've grappled with for the last 4 years. Initially, when I said frequently when I was campaigning that it should not be elected. There are 8 of us in the country who participate in partisan elections. There are 3 more who have nonpartisan elections in the United States. I think that if it's going to be elected, it would need to have some more teeth in it. The state superintendent doesn't have any regulatory authority over local boards of education, superintendents, doesn't even have a vote on the State Board of Education. So, it's hard to really make a difference when you don't have any authority and you're dependent upon the legislature to do your bidding. And the legislature can they've got lots of things that they have to think about: transportation, healthcare, public safety, as well as education. And so it's a tough job, to be sure. And I just wish the best of luck to whoever wins the election in November.
Well, the current North Carolina Superintendent of Public Instruction, Catherine Truitt, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Ben. Anytime.
Still to come here on Flashpoint, the biggest threats for teachers as they head back to the classroom.
Big weather changes in the new week. We're back into the 90s. A couple days we could see heat index temperatures near 100 degrees, and we'll check the chance of rain or any storms. All the impacts Monday morning at 4:30 on WCNC Charlotte.
As more than 140,000 CMS students head back to school, I sit down one-on-one with Superintendent Dr. Crystal Hill. From her hopes for the new school year to how the district is navigating challenges like teacher vacancies and how AI is used in the classroom.
Well, we have to embrace AI because it's been here. It can take you and I's likeness, our voices, and produce things that aren't true.
Watch Monday night at 11 on WCNC Charlotte. News that impacts you.
We watched in horror. Our cities burned, businesses looted, the scars still with us. We counted on Josh Stein. Instead, Stein praised protesters and capitalized on chaos to push his woke agenda. Defund the police, weaken sentences for violent criminals. Stein even cut a deal to release thousands from prison. Murder, rape, assaults, all up. Woke Josh Stein. Do you really know him?
At Pinnacle Home Improvements, your project begins with me.
With me.
With me.
With me. With me.
At Pinnacle Home Improvements, your exterior home remodeling project begins with each of our team of experts. That teamwork dynamic is how we provide exceptional service to every customer. Whether it's your home windows, roofing, or siding project,
Your project begins with me.
With me. With me.
your total satisfaction is our mission at Pinnacle Home Improvements, where your project begins
With me.
The greatest meal deal for your buck? Hardee's Original Bag, just $5.99. Loaded with your choice of 2 full-size favorites, plus fries and a drink. All for just $5.99. Hardee's, goodness in the making.
Welcome back to Flashpoint. Teachers have a lot of challenges heading back to the classroom this year. In addition to teacher shortages, there are new challenges that will affect education for years to come. Joining us now is Tamika Walker. She's the president of the North Carolina Association of Educators. Tamika, welcome back to Flashpoint.
Thank you for having me today. I'm glad to be here.
As we start the school year, I know you're excited about it. What is the biggest hurdle facing our teachers?
Well, one of the biggest challenges that we will foresee going into this school year is making sure that every classroom across the state is fully staffed for our students to begin the school year in a positive and uplifting way. We know we are facing educator shortages across the board in every county, and it's not due to the fact that educators don't want to be in the classroom. We know that many educators have been forced out of the classroom due to the lack of support from our North Carolina General Assembly. So we are working hard to elevate that concern to make sure that every student enters the classroom with a highly qualified professional at the helm.
Sticking with that same topic, teacher recruitment and retention has been a big issue. You report 1 in 9 North Carolina educators left their jobs just in the last year alone. What do you think needs to happen to reverse this trend?
Well, what we need to see from our lawmakers is an investment in our public school educators and our students. We know that we have the resources to fully fund public education here in North Carolina, and our educators and public school allies across the state have been calling for our General Assembly to show respect to the profession by investing our public funds and public dollars into our public schools, because ultimately, when that does not happen, our students do not benefit and they do not get the public education that they deserve.
And we know lawmakers did vote to give teachers a pay raise last year, but to your point, a lot of folks say it doesn't go nearly far enough to help keep and secure these teachers in the jobs that they have. Let's talk about school vouchers for a moment, because I know the NCAE is calling on a moratorium on private school vouchers. What are your concerns here when it comes to these?
Well, we truly believe here at NCAE that public dollars belong in our public schools, because every time we lose those public dollars to private school vouchers, that's one less educator, one less bus driver, one less custodian or cafeteria worker in place in our schools to help support our students. And we also know that there's a lack of financial accountability for our private school vouchers. That money goes into those schools, and they do not have to account for how they spend those dollars. Whereas our public schools are one of the most transparent bodies that our public school students, educators, and community members have a say in. And so we will continue to call on a moratorium for private school vouchers, and we will continue to call that our public dollars should go to our public school students.
In the last segment, we spoke to Superintendent Truitt. We know going forward in the new year, Michele Morrow or Mo Green, one of the two, are going to be the next superintendent here in the state of North Carolina. What's at stake in your view in this race?
Well, what we need here during this critical election is someone who knows and respects public schools. And that's why we remain committed as NCAE to make sure that we put pro-public school champions in office. And we have endorsed Mo Green, and we know that he has the education, the experience, and the dedication to revere public school educators, to elevate public school students, and to champion all of the amazing things that happen in North Carolina public schools.
We should say we extend the invite to both Mo Green and Michele Morrow to come on our broadcast anytime to discuss the issues. Tamika Walker, president of the North Carolina Association of Educators. Tamika, thanks for coming back on. We do appreciate it. Always good to see you.
Always here to talk about public schools.
Perfect. All right, take care. Next on Flashpoint, as students head back to the classroom, some teachers aren't making the return. Ahead, an in-depth look at the teacher shortage here in North Carolina.
Last-minute showings can be stressful.
Babe.
With a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate, you can bypass the market and close in as little as 21 days. No showings, no open houses, no stress. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer today.
1, 2, 3.
Is this too much to ask for? A family, a future, a home where it all unfolds. We don't think so. So we're changing the way homes are built, helping you save up to 50% on annual energy bills, so you can put what matters more within reach. New e-built homes, starting under $150,000. For a limited time, find your forever home at our opening door sales event at your local retailer.
Chevy lets you begin every day fully charged, so you can go farther. And so can your money. Tow with confidence. Plus, stay connected with available OnStar technology. For summer adventures, Chevy's got you. Current qualified lessees can get this well-equipped Blazer EV for around $299 a month. See your Carolina Chevy dealers.
I was just riding my motorcycle when a driver who was texting merged right into me. I was hurt bad. Who I chose as my lawyer was critical in my situation. I seen his commercials on TV. I knew the number, so I called. I called Shane Smith. He got me the money I deserve. In pain, call Shane.
Injured in a car wreck? Call me, Shane Smith. You can talk to a lawyer right now for free. In pain? You know what to do. Call Shane.
Preparing your home for a last-minute showing can be stressful.
Babe.
With a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate, you bypass the market and sell your home hassle-free.
Babe.
No showings, no open houses, no stress. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer today.
Welcome back to Flashpoint. A once sought-out profession has now given way to schools scrambling to fill positions each and every year. The latest State of Teaching Profession report in North Carolina highlights a glaring problem. More teachers are leaving the classroom. But as WCNC Charlotte's Nick Sturdivant shares, there are people out there seeking solutions to fix it.
Growing up, Judy Beckford had her sights set on a career as a doctor.
I did one semester and I said, this isn't for me. So I had to pivot quickly.
But her passion to help people did not fade.
So teaching, summers off, don't have to work weekends. It was the best option for me. I get to help kids.
In 2006, she started working as a teacher within the Charlotte-Mecklenburg School District. However, as the years went on, her passion for teaching would fade.
I was stressed. it was stressful.
Beckford says between being a mom and trying to make ends meet, she had a lot on her plate.
So you were expected to work late or work on the weekend. So on top of that, I've always had part-time jobs. So I will pick up packages and deliver them, DoorDash.
It all came to a head in 2021, in the middle of the school year while teaching at Ace Academy Charter.
2021, what was the breaking point for you? When will you say, okay, all right, I've been doing this long enough?
Teaching during COVID. I really woke up one day and said, this is it. I was in public school. I went to charter school. Okay, should I try private school? I was trying so many things to stay because that's what I wanted to do. This is what I went to school for. This is my life. This is my passion. But I just couldn't do it.
Beckford, just one of many teachers to lead the classroom. Thomas Tomberlin with the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction says beginning teachers are leaving at an even higher rate.
First-year teacher attrition was abnormally high in the state. It could be lack of support. It could be the job is not what they imagined it would be.
Teachers look at other professions that don't require as much, and they make way more.
Tomberlin also pointing out from that report, the state's teacher attrition rate remains below the national average of about 12%.
How would you describe the state of teaching?
I would say it's bleak. I became a teacher in 2004, and I couldn't get a job in North Carolina because people wanted to teach. I was still working for a moving company 3 weeks into the school year. Here we are 20 years later, and we've seen a massive depression of wages, right? So we're 38th now in the country, and that's $13,000 below the national average, right? The elimination of incentives for master's pay.
Brian Proffitt is the vice president of the North Carolina Association of Educators.
So we've seen what feel like the attacks on the profession in terms of policy and economic and budgetary decisions for 10, 15 years. But what we've seen post-COVID now is this really brutal attack on the profession in terms of our character.
So what's next? As lawmakers look through the report, Tomberlin says the North Carolina Board of Education is interested in ramping up its beginning teacher support program.
Well, can we connect the needs of the beginning teachers with the experience of the veteran, highly effective teachers in our state? The answer is yes, and we probably should.
Since leaving the classroom, Beckford is embarking on a new career in marketing for a company that provides support for educators.
Would you say it was worth it to get to this point?
Honestly, no. I enjoy all the experiences that I had, but looking at how hard I had to work, where I've always had to have a second job, I feel like I missed out on a lot of my daughter growing up.
By the way, we thank all our teachers out there. Nick Sturdivant reporting there. More Flashpoint after this.
Autos and accidents, motorcycles and mishaps, trucks and trauma. If you've been the victim of a serious injury, trust CR Legal Team to stand up for you. Commitment, results. Call 888-THE-TEAM.
So what do you think about these?
We like this.
Yeah, we love it. When it's time for an update or complete remodel, Rebath is with you every step of the way.
We're going to take everything down to the
From design and products to removal and installation, we handle the entire process to create a beautiful and functional bathroom for whatever your life needs.
Honey, you were right.
Rebath, with you every step of the way.
Take advantage of our summer special, 0% interest or $1,250 off a bathroom remodel.
There are trucks, and then there's the GMC Sierra, available with the connected driving experience and the world's first 6-function multi-pro tailgate. GMC Sierra. It's the truck. Or get $3,500 purchase cash on select GMC Sierra models. Or get a total of $6,000 purchase allowance when you trade in an eligible vehicle. Professional-grade truck of the Carolina Panthers.
Sprains and strains, crashes and collisions, workplace and injuries. If you've been hurt on the job and need a helping hand, trust CR Legal Team to stand up for you. Commitment, results. Call 888-THE-TEAM.
Welcome back to Flashpoint. Folks, come interact with us on social media, Instagram, X, Facebook, we're there. If there's something you want us to talk about on Flashpoint, let us know. And as always, remember to listen and subscribe to our podcast. You can find it wherever you get yours. And we'll see you back here next weekend.
Try new Bojangles chicken wings, available in classic, sweet and smoky barbecue, or creamy buffalo. Head to Bojangles and order all 3 flavors for your next party. It's bow time.
We watched in horror. Our cities burned, businesses looted, the scars still with us. We counted on Josh Stein. Instead, Stein praised protesters and capitalized on chaos to push his woke agenda. Defund the police, weaken sentences for violent criminals. Stein even cut a deal to release thousands from prison. Murder, rape, assaults, all up. Woke Josh Stein. Do you really know him?
Get 2.9% APR for 36 months plus $1,000 purchase allowance on most 2024 Cadillac models when you finance through Cadillac Financial.
People don't really realize how much of an impact the feet have on the rest of the body. A lot of times people with knee pain, there's really nothing going on with their knee. The issue is actually stemming from the foot. So now we're predisposed to hip pain, low back pain. What I really like about the Good Feet system is that when the foot's placed in the ideal position, everything else up the kinetic chain works better. You have better balance, more energy, you're gonna feel better, and you're not gonna have to spend so much time worrying and thinking about your pain.
See what we can do for you with a free arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
Stay weather aware with WCNC Weather Impact. Online, on the go, and always on WCNC Charlotte. The WCNC Charlotte 7-day forecast, sponsored by Guy Roofing, America's most trusted and professional roofing contractor.